Get ready for a new perspective on the world of law enforcement and social media. Brought to you by PSMA, the experts in public safety social media strategies. And now, welcome to Cop Talk with Chase and Joe.
Well, here we are, Chase. This is episode number 4.
Number 4. Here we are.
And you're just back from a fun-filled trip.
I just got back last night, actually, from Nashville, Tennessee. I was at the Government Social Media Conference. I believe they're in their 5th year. This is the first time I've been, but I was really impressed.
That's your first time in Nashville?
First time in Nashville also, which Nashville obviously in itself was really cool.
Right.
But the conference, so it's geared towards all government social media managers. So I think they said that police or public safety made up about 20-ish% of attendees. So, I mean, there was everybody from Department of Transportation, the BMV, health departments, the whole deal.
Sure.
But it was pretty awesome. So a lot of the platforms were there. So you got to hear from actual representatives from Facebook, who knew actual people existed, from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Nextdoor, the whole deal. So,
Right. Well, that's pretty cool. So what did you take away? Like, what were some of the key takeaways?
How much time do we have?
We've only got about half an hour.
No, so there was basically you had options like you do in most conferences to kind of pick and choose. And this one was really hard to find, just one class that you wanted to go to because you had a lot of classes offered, So you're like, I want to be in both places. And so they actually do have the ability later on, I'll be able to watch the classes that I wasn't able to make it to.
Right.
But obviously I'm big into the legal stuff and, the good post, bad post and things like that.
Right.
I attended about 3.5 hours of sessions on First Amendment and legal issues pertaining to public safety and social media.
Now, that's something we cover extensively in our class.
We do. And it's, and like we talk about in the class, a couple of things, before we dive into this, and it was said even in these trainings from attorneys, luckily both of the instructors on this were actual attorneys. One, you should talk to your attorney, at home.
Right.
And we say that in class.
Yeah, that's right.
And they reiterated that you want to talk to your attorney, whoever's going to represent you if you were to get sued,
right,
or if you were to end up in a courtroom. That's who you want to talk to, and you want to have a plan.
Right.
What are we deleting, if anything?
Right.
What are we responding to? Kind of what's our approach here? And, are we hiding comments? Are we not? Having a plan there. So that was something big they talked about. And the other thing they talked about that we also talk about in our class is that there's a lot of gray area in this. There's a lot of this that's still being decided in the courts. There's a lot of this that doesn't have any official rulings yet, so we're just kind of guessing.
So there's no precedent for some of them.
You don't. Right. So you don't want to be the one that sets it. You don't want to be the the one. Your agency was the one sued. So diving into this though, one thing he said was, obviously this is First Amendment, so this is a civil rights federal lawsuit is what you're looking at.
Right.
So that's pretty scary in itself.
Sure.
And he said that you as a social media manager would be named in that.
Right.
So it's not just looking at your agency. It's not just looking at your chief or your sheriff or your commissioner. Your name will be on there as a social media manager. So if you have a team of social media admin, expect to all be named in that lawsuit.
Right.
So that's one thing to really keep in mind. And making, an argument or sharing your displeasure with the government is one of the most protected forms of speech.
Right.
So, unfortunately for us in public safety, we are the government.
Sure.
So, if somebody gets on there and they're, hey, this police department's this, or, no matter what they're saying, if it's against you and making you look bad, that's their right. So, you got to really make sure you have a reason, a policy that you're following that's legal. As to why you're getting rid of it.
Now, they recommend, like we do, to have a comment policy that is clear and in black and white. And
they did. One of them said to keep it very short and sweet. Basically, just have a, hey, this is it. And then one of the other things I thought was pretty interesting, and we know this, but they said basically one of them compared having a comment policy with basically illegal policies. So, having a comment policy that says, we're allowed to get rid of this or that. Is about the same as having a sign when people entered your town that said, hey, if you pass this sign, you can be arrested without probable cause.
Okay.
And so we all kind of laugh at that, right? We're like, that's pretty obvious.
Right.
But it's kind of the same thing. If you have this comment policy and the comment policy says, hey, we have the ability to delete comments that you legally do not have the ability to delete as a government entity.
Right.
It's about as big of a joke is that sign?
Sure.
So just keep that in mind, I guess. They basically said that there were 8 types of speech that you could pretty much delete or get rid of, and they're not protected. Okay, and I'm going to run through those, and then we can. I'm sure those will open up some areas of debate between us. But the first one they pointed out was obscenities. And what they really kind of harped on there that made a lot of sense to me was just setting the filter to high on Facebook and letting Facebook take care of it for you.
Right.
And they both seem to agree that if you did that, that was a pretty good argument when you went to court, or if you went to court.
Right.
You basically say, hey, listen, we just set the filter. We just changed the way it commented. We weren't hiding the comments. We weren't doing anything like that. Facebook did it, and Facebook's a third party, and they're not held to the same standards.
And it is their platform. I mean, it's it's their world. Right.
They're not held to the First Amendment in that sense the same as we are.
Right. Because they're a business.
Yeah. So that's one thing. So they seem to make that was a pretty good argument. He did say the first guy did say that adding words to that could set you up a little bit more. So if you go in and add some words that maybe aren't considered obscene, again, who's deciding what is and isn't.
Right,
so I think if you go in and add words, just understand that you're taking that argument out in a little bit, because before you were saying, hey, the platform did it. But if you added, a couple of words that maybe you didn't like, then, like for instance, if you went and added pigs, because you're like, well, we're law enforcement. We don't want to be called pigs. That's derogatory.
Right.
That's not really a cuss word.
No, it's not.
So just keep that in mind.
Right. I guess you'd have to go with sort of what the social standard is for obscenity.
Yeah, and again, I mean, that's one of the things they point out, even on these 8 things that aren't protected or that you're okay to delete, a lot of it is just, it's an opinion.
Right.
So is your opinion wrong, or who's making the opinion? Is the opinion being evenly enforced to all commenters or just to some? The next one's defamation. And basically, this one can be a real trick bag.
Yeah.
One attorney basically was like, listen, defamation can only be decided by the courts. So if you don't have a court saying it was, defamation, then you shouldn't delete based on this.
Right.
And the other one kind of said, essentially, if they were touting something that definitely wasn't true, and was somehow having adverse effects on the person, then maybe.
Right.
But again, keep in mind that if those comments are about the sheriff or about an elected official,
right,
be very careful there, because that's extremely protected.
Right.
And they, the First Amendment, one of the things that was interesting to me, and we all know this, but sometimes you don't think about it. The First Amendment came because we didn't want a king to tell us what we could and couldn't say, and we didn't want to get tarred and feathered or our heads chopped off or whatever. So keep that in mind.
Right. It was redress of grievances to the government. That's really the key of the First Amendment is to protest against the government.
Right.
Right.
And so when you look at a history of times where people couldn't do that, there was hey, we heard you were talking about us. Get out here.
There's still countries now. If you make a derogatory statement, you end up in prison or you end up dead.
Yeah. So you got to understand that. So I mean, obviously, calling someone a liar or a cheater or whatever on Facebook is very minimal, but they have that right and it's protected. The next one would be actual threats, and I think this is a pretty easy one. They didn't seem to have a lot of concern in that, but one of the things they did say was, is it something you could criminally charge someone for? And if you could, then it's pretty much a no-brainer that you can delete it.
Right.
So we got to make an actual threat. Hey, I'm going to shoot so-and-so.
Right.
Or, hey, we should kill, we're going to kill this person. Then obviously those are easy to take off.
Right.
One of the examples I think they gave that was a little less clear was, if they said, oh, so-and-so should die, or so-and-so, whatever, should be hurt.
Right.
That might be a little more gray. So just keep that in mind. Spam. So this one, the example they gave, the note I took was, lose weight now, ask me how. So basically, hey, I got this magical milkshake,
right.
Send me a message and I can sell it to you. I'll get you signed up underneath me or whatever.
Right.
That's a pretty easy one. Calling the mayor stupid is not an example.
Right.
So calling the mayor stupid, First Amendment protected. Trying to sell you the magical juice to lose weight,
right?
That's a commercial.
Right.
So you can delete those. You don't owe any outside parties the ability to come in and sell things to your people on your page. Illegal activities. So I didn't take any notes on this because I think it's pretty self-explanatory. But if they're trying to get people to buy drugs, do drugs, rob a bank, that's not something
pretty straightforward.
Not something that's protected. Links to malware. So if you're protecting now, one of the
what about links to just other websites, just things that don't have anything to pertain to what the topic is.
What I took from it was if it's evenly enforced. So if your policy is written that, hey, we do not allow links at all,
right,
posted by anyone, that's okay. Again, if you start getting into, well, we allow conservative links, we don't allow liberal links, you know, we allow pro-police, not anti-police.
What about links if they pertain to the conversation?
Well, I think that you get more of a trick bag on that.
Okay.
Because the way that the links was explained to me was basically you could protect your people by saying, hey, we don't know where these links go. We don't know if it is a virus, if it's malware, if it's going to steal your person, your identification and your credit card number or what. So you could do it based on that. We want to protect people, so we don't allow links at all. Post to promote illegal discrimination. Again, I didn't take any notes on that one because I think it's pretty clear cut. And then copyright of another. So if there's something there that they don't have the right to post or whatever, then you could get rid of that.
Stealing a photo or a video or something from somewhere else.
And I think one of the interesting ones that's not on the list is hate speech. And they talked a lot about hate speech.
Really?
And one of the things they pointed out was hate speech is protected by the First Amendment, whether we like it or not, it's protected. And the second thing was that there's not a real clear definition of what hate speech is or where hate speech ends. So just keep that in mind. Somebody getting on there, if they're using a racial slur that would be in the filters, then so be it. It's going to get rid of that. But if they're just getting on there and talking about hatred of a group of people, that is First Amendment protected. And I'm sure there are some degrees where you get into the threats and everything, you get rid of it. But at face value, it's protected.
Right.
And they said the Supreme Court has ruled on this, and it was unanimous. So it's not even like it's a split decision, but I guess one of the rulings, it was unanimous. So, again, I'm not an attorney. These are just notes I took, but a lot of these were quotes that came from the attorneys.
Right.
And, something else I just want to reiterate as we wrap that up is they said it over and over in this conference that you need to talk to your attorney. And so I think that they say that for a reason because your attorney might tell you something different.
That's right.
And if they do, then so be it.
Right.
But just keep in mind that
your department, your agency attorney is going to be the one that have to deal with it.
Yeah,
if you do get sued. So they should at least be aware of what it is you're trying to do.
They should be involved in writing your policy or your,
or at least reviewing it or approving it.
Yeah, and especially a new social media manager or maybe somebody that's like, I don't know, we've just been doing it this way. Sit down and have that conversation and get a game plan.
Well, it's probably good to revisit that policy from time to time too to make modifications if there's case law is decided, you probably need to update the policy to go along to match.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we see a lot when we travel and do these trainings is that people are not following what I just talked about. Right. They're following their chief who's going, oh my God, there's people in here talking about this, and this. Delete the whole post.
Right.
And so now you've gotten rid of comments from not only the one that you're worried about, but from everybody.
Right.
So just keep that in mind. That's it's kind of scary, I think, to think that some of these people have no idea. And again, we always point out you have to be sued, right?
Right.
You have to be sued, and you may or may not ever. It may not ever happen, but if it does, you don't want to be in a trick bag where you have no. Because again, these people are going to be coming after your house, your checking accounts, not just your agency or your department.
Right.
It could end up falling back on you if you did some sort of negligence that's proven it's your fault.
Right. Well, that's good. I mean, that's a good summary of.
Yeah, and so I'm looking.
You probably spent most of a day in there, didn't you?
So there was at least 3.5 hours. So it was a half a day of the whole conference that was that I sat in just legal stuff. And typically, I would say that legal jargon would wear me out, or I'd be really bored. But I was really interested and took a lot of notes through all that. One thing that I put down at the bottom here, I was looking through my notes to make sure I didn't miss anything. Was you can block people for lawful reasons, right? And we talk about that, and and a couple of things the attorney said was, one, they have to continually violate a policy.
Right.
So if they're continually using, cuss words, or they're continually off topic or posting spam or whatever it is, you can block those people.
Right.
But you need to prove that, one, they're continually doing it, and two, give them a warning.
Right.
So, and I think that's pretty much what we've talked about in past classes. So just keep that in mind. And, one of the other things they really talked about, and we talk about this too, is that you've got to be across the board the same.
Right.
You really get
you have to be even-handed. You can't.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, we always use the example of, the police are assholes, right? And that one's filtered out. And so we're like, we're good with that. Right. And then somebody goes, your police department kicks ass.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we want to unhide
we like that. So
right?
yeah,
Because that sounds good.
We'll let that go. Yeah.
So just keep in mind that you really don't want to be doing that. You don't want to get in there. Whatever it is, let it roll, and you don't want to get in there and mess with it and show that you were, not fair.
Right. If you have the profanity filter set, let it do its job and leave it alone.
Yeah.
Yep. That's probably a good bit of advice there. And the other thing too is, as far as deleting comments, and I think it should be left for extreme circumstances, because you want to interact with the public. And the other thing that happens is when people make negative comments, very often you'll see your followers, the people that do like your page, will gang up on that negative person.
Absolutely.
And they'll take care of the problem right there. They'll say, no, that's a bunch of crap. That's not true. This is,
Well, and we've all worked for administrators, right? That are like Chicken Little, right? They're freaking out.
Right.
The sky's falling. Everything's falling apart. Get rid of that post right away.
Yep.
And in reality, us being social media guys, we know that it might seem like, oh man, there's some negative comments on there, but there aren't as many people reading those comments as that are seeing the good in your post.
That's right.
If there's good content, you're sharing a good message. Who cares if a couple trolls get on there and they want to bring up old baggage?
Exactly. And it's short lived too. Is the other thing. Usually it's 24 to 48 hours, maybe 72 hours,
right.
and people have forgotten it and they've moved on to the next thing.
Yeah, and especially if you're not engaging in that,
right?
If you're not giving them what they want, fueling the fire.
Yeah, if you give in to the trolls and you start to engage, then you could be.
Yeah, you're going to keep that alive for as long as that, because they don't have anything else to do.
No, they don't.
They're just waiting for that. That's what they live
They're
for.
sitting in a basement at a keyboard, and they're a commando, and they're ready to go.
Absolutely.
So that's good. So what else did you?
Vertical video.
Right?
No,
we don't want to get into that.
This is going to get you all fired up, right?
Yep.
So, Joe, tell them real quick your background in media.
Okay, my background in media is in television and audio production. I freelanced for companies like Speed Vision, and I've won an Emmy nomination and some other awards for some documentary pieces, but. Yeah, I have extensive video and photography background, and this is something that really drives me nuts, is vertical video.
So you can only imagine how quickly I wanted to tweet this and tag him.
I'm sure he did.
In it. And I will tell you that came directly from representatives from Facebook, from the platform.
Right.
They talked about some things that you could do to get people to see you more organically on Facebook, and that was one of the things was vertical video.
Right.
And they wanted you to go vertical on there, and the live video, and going from your cell phone, posting from your mobile, so I think that all these things tie back in that they want people out there actually showing what's your day like, what's going on.
Right.
You're in the moment, share in the moment.
Well, we discussed this in class too, and I think different platforms prefer different formats of video. So, like Snapchat is designed to be vertical.
Right.
I mean that's sort of what I think Facebook is trying to go for, is that Snapchat type of interaction by doing the. If you're just going to people that have iPhones and they do FaceTime videos, I mean that's vertical, because you're talking to somebody on there, you're looking at them, you're holding the phone vertical. I think the problem comes in is when you try to videotape something, an event or something that's going on, and you maintain that vertical format, it doesn't fit. Right. It doesn't fit because you're missing so much on either side, and you're seeing and you have all this extra space top and bottom, and everybody watches TVs. I mean, you spend $1,000 to go out and get a 65-inch big screen TV because of the horizontal width of it to watch your movies or sports, whatever you're watching. And companies like Facebook and YouTube that want to get into doing more videos, people aren't going to sit and watch a vertical video when you have a 65-inch wide screen and you're only looking at a sliver in the center of that screen of a vertical video. So there's a certain professionalism that goes along with shooting video the right way, horizontal or vertical, depending on what it is you're trying to convey.
Well, I think that is the key. Is you're a professional. Facebook doesn't want to cater to the professionals. They want you to pay.
That's it.
I think that a lot of it is they want this amateur. They want this real people doing real stuff. The emphasis. I mean, I've said this all along. The emphasis on Facebook Live the whole time was they liked that raw. They liked the bloopers. They liked the fact that it was unedited. It wasn't, you weren't putting a lot of thought into it.
Right.
And it was in the moment.
Right.
And I think that this is kind of the same thing.
Sure.
I mean, they're telling us that posting from your phone is going to see more than posting from a laptop. I mean, that should be pretty eye-opening for us. I think they want you out in the field. They want you.
The reason for that too is that most people do consume social media on portable devices,
right?
Especially the phone. Phones and tablets are primary. Desktops, laptops are secondary.
Yeah. So,
but I do know that Facebook has an Apple TV app for their videos. So if you want to watch videos, you can watch them on your big screen TV. And YouTube has an app too. Now I watch a lot of YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And there's some fantastic content creators out there. Now Peter McKinnon is one of them. If anybody watches YouTube at all, but I mean, this guy is a really accomplished cinematographer, and the videos that he shoots are phenomenal. But he doesn't shoot vertical video. I'll tell you that right now. Right. I mean, it is top notch stuff. Casey Neistat, he made his mark in YouTube in the early days, and he does some good work. And his videos are entertaining, but he doesn't shoot vertical video either. So I look at that as the benchmark. These guys that are content creators out there doing quality, high quality work. They're shooting high definition. I mean, a lot of them are shooting 4K now. So now you really stepped up the game even now to your resolution above 1080p. And it's great stuff to look at. I mean, they shoot some phenomenal stuff, and they travel to places, and it's just really good work.
You were pretty much talking in a foreign language for the last couple of minutes, but what I will say is
Chase is not a tech guy.
I am not a tech guy. I am the people. But here's the thing: is I agree. I mean, you're a professional, and you have that bar set high, and you want that quality, and things that you're going to see versus things I'm going to see even are just completely different.
Right.
The imperfections. Right. But I think that on social media, it's okay to be not perfect. I mean, depending on what you're doing. If you're trying to create a commercial, then it should be high quality. Yep. But if you're just going live to show the behind the scenes of your agency, it's okay to be a little raw.
Well, if you're going to do something where you want to give a traffic update or something, or a road update, and you're out on the road, and you want to get on there, and you're sitting in the seat of your patrol vehicle, and you just want to go on live and say, hey, this is Deputy Krupa. I'm out here at this intersection. It's pretty dangerous out here. The road's shut down because it's icy, et cetera, and you're going to be quick on and off. That's fine. I have no problem with that. But if you're going to do like Delaware County Sheriff's Office did, where we had the production called Deputies of Delaware County, where we showed actual calls and deputies responding to calls and interacting with the public, and that's not the time or place for vertical video.
Well, you guys are basically like HBO. I mean, you guys were running it. Yeah. Those are legitimate. Watching those videos is like, I mean, that's high quality. So we'll move on before we get you. I don't want you to get red-faced.
Okay.
I know that vertical video is it's like a cuss word for you. It should be filtered out.
Yeah.
And so also got to talk to Instagram or hear from Instagram. And so they basically point out 3 things that keep your Instagram posts alive. Because we all have seen those Instagram posts that are from days ago.
Right.
That are still showing up. And so basically the 3 main things they pointed out was interest. So obviously people being interested in the content that you're putting out there and the image you're putting out there.
Right.
The timeliness. So kind of the same as, some of the things we see with Facebook. Because it's owned by Facebook. And then the relationship. So I think, again, tying back to they want posts from friends, posts from family, posts from people you care about, essentially. So those are kind of the 3 just quick notes I took on that topic. And then live video, the last argument I'll make for live video, and this was from them again. And Instagram has and so the Instagram people were the Facebook people. They doubled over.
Right.
But the live video, the things they pointed out as to why they think their people that use the platform like live video, it's authentic. It's social, it's unexpected, it's exclusive, and it's immediate. And so I think those kind of tell us why the platforms, why they prefer it.
And I think that's one of the reasons that you see such a high score for Facebook Live videos, because when you go live on Facebook as an agency, or even as we've done it as a business, you see instant reactions, people tuning in, people watching and starting to interact with it.
Right.
And then after it sits there for a while, you see more people go back and they'll watch it again.
Right. So, especially if a lot of other people watched it, at the time or
Right.
have shown interest in it, then it's just going to keep attracting people. I
Right,
think. So,
right.
and you have the ability to go live on Instagram too. And so
Yeah.
that was one of the things they talked about. And they had a brand new feature that just rolled out earlier this week, live question and answer on Instagram. And it sounds like, I haven't messed around with it yet, but it sounds like you can do some pretty cool things. Like you can actually pull the question box, up on the video, show it on the screen, answer that question or talk about that question live on there. So that's something we'll have to look into and
it's interesting,
and
yeah.
see how cool it
Try
is.
to play around with that a
Yeah.
little bit. Yeah.
I don't want to get on there and look like a complete amateur, but yeah, I wouldn't mind playing around with it a little bit.
Well, and a lot of this social media, I mean, all the platforms are in flux. Whether you're talking about what their capabilities are or the algorithms, regardless, they're constantly tweaking these things. They're constantly making improvements and changing things around. So it's not a one time you go to a class, you learn it, and then you know everything, because you don't. Because if you don't keep up with it, if you don't keep up with the trends and the changes, you're going to fall behind, and you'll fall behind pretty quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Within a couple of months, not even years, because like the first class that we taught for Social Media Academy, it was the day, I think, that we wrapped up that class, or it was the next day that Facebook redid their algorithm.
Yeah. And
that was big news. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, we just taught about this and now it's all changed.
Yeah. So sign up for next class. We'll have new stuff, right?
Yeah, right.
But I mean, that's part of it. We know that. And that's why my philosophy with this, and we talk about this a lot, is I don't ever want to think that I know everything, and that's why I go to conferences like this, and I continue to go to trainings, and I know you do too, because it does change all the time,
Right.
and if you're just up there teaching and you're never learning,
Right.
And that's why in the class, I mean, I'm always amazed that we learn so much, even teaching the classes.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
So a couple of other people, and then I'll shut up about this conference, but the conference was amazing, and I think that's pretty true whenever you go to a conference. But I do want to point out the Miami-Dade Police Department, and I ended up, I got to spend a little time with the chief from the Miami-Dade Police Department, and I also got to spend a time with commander from the City of Miami Police Department. And so Hector and Freddie were these guys' names, and really good guys, have been in law enforcement 20-plus years,
Right.
And have worked their way up. And they do a public information officer workshop once a year at the Miami-Dade Police Department.
Neat.
And so I highly recommend that if you're looking for, we do a really good job on social media,
Right.
but we don't really dive into a lot of the on-camera, dealing with the media. No. That's not really our niche.
We deal with dealing with the media as far as it relates to social media.
Yeah.
But as far as PIO and going and
we basically talk about how to get them to come to you to do feel-good stories,
exactly.
From your posts.
But not dealing with serious events where you have to do press releases and all that. No, we don't do that.
Yeah, so I just real quick wanted to give these guys a shout out, and you can find this on the Miami-Dade Police Department website. But they are going to host this training, and I'm trying to find the date on here. It's June the 24th through June the 30th or June the 28th of this year. And again, it's a public information officer workshop. They do it in an actual news studio.
Good deal.
A lot of in front of the camera, throwing questions at you and kind of testing your skills. So
excellent.
Very impressed with those guys. I would recommend that. And the last shout out I have to give from the conference, and I have to give these guys some love, was the Next Door team.
Okay.
I got to spend pretty much every evening with this team from Next Door. And these guys are the public agency representatives. So they're who you're talking to if you're a police department, a fire department, a government service, and you're wanting to get on that platform.
Right.
And they are really genuine, cool people, down to earth, very approachable, very helpful. And that platform, talking to a lot of major cities, that platform is a huge success for them.
Right.
Just you're able to get on there and reach everybody in your target zone. So it's not like Facebook and some of these where your message is getting filtered out or lost with everything else going on. If you get on there and you post to an area, everybody that gets on that app is going to see it.
Right.
And they want to see it because they're on there because they care about their neighborhoods.
Right. And it's more neighborhood specific than it is generalized. Facebook is, it's all over the world, but
absolutely.
You're going to hit a much bigger audience on Facebook, but if you want to target a neighborhood, Next Door is where it's the place to go.
Next Door is one of those, it's growing. It's a platform that's growing right now, but it is. It's not in every neighborhood right now, so you can't reach everybody.
Right.
But the people that are on there, it's very easy to get that message to those people. And the good thing is they're verified.
Right.
They live in those areas. They're homeowners, they're renters, whatever. They care about that area. So, it's people that you want to get the message to. I think it's a no-brainer for police departments.
Sure.
An absolute no-brainer. So if you're listening to this show and you're like, what's next door, or how do I get connected, tweet us. At Officer Winkle, you can tweet me, and I can put you in contact with that team. And I'm just telling you, they will walk you through, get you on the platform that day, and get you up and running. So
that's excellent.
They're really, and just like, I don't know, when you're like us and you're geeked out about social media, to get to spend that much time with actual people from the platform and get to know them on a personal level and know what their message is and how committed they are.
That's a good experience.
It's awesome. Yeah. So Nextdoor is a platform that we'll continue to talk about in our classes, and I think that we're going to talk about it even more. As I get more and more comfortable in the platform itself.
Now have you started one here in Muncie?
Yeah, so we're brand new, but I've got Muncie Police Department is on Nextdoor.
Okay.
I haven't posted yet or pushed out there yet.
Right.
Mainly because I've been so busy. I haven't really been in Muncie very much. So once they
we're so busy traveling.
I didn't want to post from the airport, hey guys, how's everything in Muncie? Yeah. But once we get going, I just think talking to some of these major agencies, I mean a lot of them like Miami, for instance. Their commanders or their zones, they all have their own Nextdoor accounts, so they're able to talk to the districts that they police.
Sure.
And so I think that's one of the nice things about it. A lot of those larger agencies, that's what I saw, is the commanders it's very intimate to the areas you're policing versus Facebook.
Right.
There's really no way to target that.
No.
So you're just going to get on there and you go, hey, Muncie. Yeah. It might not be relevant to them at all.
No.
Might have car break-ins that are very isolated to an area.
To a neighborhood.
And that's who we want to talk to.
Exactly.
We don't want to alarm the whole community and start getting calls about every person that's out walking.
Exactly.
But, hey, if you see somebody that matches this description, we're having car break-ins.
Right. In this specific neighborhood.
You never say that word. You haven't said it one time this show.
That's right.
Yeah, I was staying away from it. It's really hard to say with this microphone in your face.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So, and I think that's the thing is, you could get onto a neighborhood and you could say, hey, listen, we've been having car break-ins every evening after 2 a.m.
Right.
And we think it's a group of juveniles. So look for a group of juveniles. If you see them out after midnight, give us a call. Yep. And that's the way you do community policing and you do effective crime fighting through social media.
Absolutely.
So, definitely a platform. If you're not on there, I'd check it out.
Good deal. Good deal. Wow, that's a ton of information, Chase.
I know. I feel like I took up the whole show.
You did. You took up the whole show.
The whole show. Joe, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No.
And you know what is crazy? Is that's just a fraction of the information.
Well, you were down there for 4 days. So.
Yeah, I mean, and it was just nonstop.
Yeah, that's great.
It's there's just always something new rolling out. So you can never train in this enough. If you want to be a professional, and that's why people are like, oh, you're going to promote other businesses when this is what you do? I'll promote them all because if I think they're good.
Right.
Because you're going to learn so much. I
Absolutely.
mean, I teach this. You know what I mean? I teach it, and I read about it probably more than the average person.
Right.
And I was still wowed by the amount of information I learned.
Right.
And I know that people are like that with our class.
Yep.
So you could go to all these, and you're still going to learn stuff.
Yep. That's right. That's
and
right.
they're constantly changing it to make it tougher for us. That's just they want us to pay.
Well, and that's the bottom line too. Is you have to realize that we're already starting at a disadvantage because public safety agencies are treated like businesses, and Facebook wants you to spend money, or wants businesses to spend money,
as they should,
for advertising, I mean, to get the word out. Well, we were treated the same way, so your posts are actually suppressed, and that's where the algorithm comes in, and we get a whole other portion of that. But that's why we cover that in class. Why it's important, since you don't have the funds to put behind your posts, that you utilize, that you leverage that algorithm as much as possible to get the most coverage, the most bang for your buck.
And I've heard some other marketers that do this very well talk about this same topic. And, social media was interesting because we were able to do it for free for so long.
Right.
We had that great organic reach.
Yep.
I can't remember what year it switched, but even in my time of running my agency's page, it used to be, if I posted something, it got a lot of attention.
Oh, yeah.
And then that changed.
Right.
But we're kind of mad and upset about what? The fact that now all of a sudden they're going to charge us for advertising?
Right.
Or for marketing?
Well, it's too bad they do that to public safety agencies, though, because I think that has a genuine public interest,
And I think that you're going to see that change.
Yeah.
I think there will be some change. I agree. We're lumped in right now, and I think they are trying.
Right.
I think I've read some stuff about Facebook that Facebook is trying. I don't know if they're going to ever give us a complete break, but I think that they realize that, what we post sometimes is very important
Right.
to our communities.
That's right.
So
and we need to get that information out, and that's why you have to. It's kind of tricky sometimes, and that's why some platforms are better than others for specific
there you go again.
types of posts, like Twitter versus Facebook. It's
Yeah.
Those kind of things to think about. So, but no, we have a couple of classes coming up. Let's see, April 11th and 12th in Muncie.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a whole.
April's a good month because we are in Indiana.
We're not leaving the state
down.
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah, that's the
but
thing.
May we're gone for a long time. We're going to be gone. We're going to be in California for a whole week.
Yeah. So
But yeah, we got 11th and 12th in Muncie. We got the 15th and 16th in Rushville. So that'll be fun.
both Indiana classes.
Both Indiana classes.
Rushville's a little unique because Rushville, I think essentially we have a lot of the city
Yeah,
of
I think we
Rushville.
do, too.
I think we have
we've got-
several of their departments
Right.
involved. So that's kind of cool that the whole city has basically decided, hey, we want to get on board and be uniformed in our social media
Hey,
approach.
that's the way to do it.
And so, yeah,
That's the way to do
I'm
it.
glad to hear that the mayor is very pro social media and he's
That's
on board.
excellent. That's
So-
excellent. Then in May, we're heading to California.
So we'll be in Chico, California, and Fullerton.
Yep.
Not in that order.
No,
but
Fullerton first.
I always say them backwards.
Chase gets it mixed
The
up.
board is behind me.
But
You can't see
it's
that.
okay. I booked the flight, so we're going
Yeah.
to the right place at the right time.
Yeah, so those, we'll be in two parts of California. The Fullerton class it's full.
Yeah.
We can probably still squeeze some people in, but it has passed what we normally try to fill. So that class is going to be big.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big
maybe
class.
the biggest class we've had.
Right.
And Chico's not far behind it. It's,
That's right.
It's right there. So
And Chico would be an interesting area because it's Northern California and it's north of Sacramento. So I think that's wine country up that way, I think.
I hope so. I don't know.
I don't know. It looks pretty wide open, so it'll be a nice scenery. Anyway.
Yeah.
We'll have like an hour and a half drive from the airport when we get up
And then we've
there,
got some classes in June.
Yep.
So I know we're in Indiana, back in Indiana for
Franklin,
one.
in Franklin.
Indiana, hosted by the Johnson County Sheriff's
And then
Department.
Pascagoula.
Yeah, in Mississippi.
Yeah, that's cool.
So,
So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're busy.
So
We got a lot of stuff
we're adding
going on.
classes all the time.
Yeah.
They're all on the website. So PSMAtraining.com. We actually just reformatted it, so you can
Right.
you can get to the flyers on there. I had
Yep.
that changed today.
Yep.
So flyers for each of the classes are up there.
That's
and then,
awesome.
You can email us directly to book or to join us at any of those trainings.
That's awesome. And if you're on the East Coast, coming up in September, we're going to be in Valhalla, New York. That's near. Well, that's just outside of Connecticut, really. So it's right on the Connecticut-New York state line, just north of New York City. So if you're,
And when are we in Myrtle Beach?
I don't know, when are we
August?
going to Myrtle Beach? Yeah, August.
Yeah.
August.
So I'm pretty excited about that one because I've gotten to meet a couple of the PIOs down there. Mm-hmm. And I'm just excited. I think there's going to be good energy in that class. I think it's going to be fun.
Awesome.
And they're already engaged. You know, they've been tweeting us and talking to us. So Joe's looking around. He's trying to see what else is on there.
I see Oklahoma too. I forgot about Oklahoma coming up in October.
In October. Yeah, so we're all over. We don't know where we're going.
No.
We take it week by week. But good classes wherever we go.
That's right.
And the opportunity to meet lots of great public safety folks is the best part of this.
And if you're interested in hosting us for a class, you get free seats in the class.
Yep.
So contact us. Let us know if you're interested in having us come out and teach for 2 days, and we can discuss that with you, and we'll schedule it because our schedule's pretty full, but that's all right. That's what we like.
We just wanted to get more and more full.
That's right.
That's the goal.
So some ways people can contact us, Chase. What's the best way?
So you can always tweet me, and feel free to tweet us questions or concerns. You can do it either at PSMA Training. That's one of them. Or you can hit me up individually at Officer Winkle. And then you can visit us at the website, psmatraining.com, or you can email me, cwinkle@psmatraining.com.
That's excellent.
I hear the music, so that is Joe is telling me that it's time for us to wrap.
We've
this
gone
show
over
up.
a little bit, a few minutes over, but that's okay because we're not.
Had lots to say. I'll make up for next week. I'll keep it short.
Hopefully, Chase will have we'll have some different things. We're going to have a guest next week, I think. I know we have the PIO from Kentucky.
Do we?
Yeah, don't we?
Yeah.
Don't we have a we have a guest?
I'm going to say his name
We're
wrong.
not going to say
I
no.
call him.
We're not going to say it.
Oh, we're not going to say?
No, but we call him Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter. I was going to say the code name.
We're not going to say his name,
All right.
but he's going to be here, and he should be live in the studio. So stay tuned for that.
See you guys.
Thanks for listening to Cop Talk. To learn more, visit our website at psmatraining.com.